All right, guys, welcome back. I really do miss you, and this is going to be the last video for week number 2. So the last thing we're going to talk about is how you find the volume of cones. So remember, volume, whenever we were doing the pyramids, was just 1/3 area of the base times the height. So this is going to be the same thing, but remember we're working with cones. So the area of, or the actual base of this is going to be a circle. So this pi r squared is really just your area of your base. So the formula is the same thing. They just gave you that it's going to be pi r squared. And then let's remember a couple of things. So when we're looking at these cones, this is the slant height. It's the height along the edge of your cone. The actual height is the height that drops from the apex down to the center of your base and hits at a 90-degree angle. And then since we are working with a circle, your radius is the halfway across the bottom of your base, okay? And then our formula is just 1/3 area of your base, which is pi r squared circle times your height of your cone. Okay, so let's do this first one. So number 7, it says find the volume of each cone. So we know this volume is 1/3 area of the base, which is pi r squared, times the height. And I think we have all of that information, so we just plug it in. So we've got volume equals 1/3 pi, the radius is 9, so 9 squared, times the height, which is 17. And then we're just gonna plug that in. So I'm gonna do 9 squared times 17. And then I'm gonna divide that by 3, so that's like multiplying by 1/3. So it's gonna be 459. And then we still have the pi. So this is 459 pi yards cubed because we're working with volume. And then if I wanted to make this so that it was without the pi and not an exact form, I would just take that answer and multiply by pi. And so then my rounded answer let's see, 459 times pi. Yep, so that would be sorry, I'm questioning my answer here, but yes, 1,441.99 yards cubed. So then that's going to be our total volume. Okay, remember it's yards cubed because we're working with volume. All right, let's do number 8. So number 8, we just need to find the radius because we have the height. So the radius is going to be half of 5. So that's going to be 2.5 inches is our radius. And then we just plug it in. So volume equals 1/3 area of the base. So pi 2.5 squared times the height. And in this case, your height is 8. So I'm going to do 2.5 squared times 8 divided by 3. So that's going to be 16.67 pi inches cubed, or if we want the non-exact value, which would make sense in this one because that's not a nice decimal, we just multiply that by pi, and then it gives us that our total volume is 52.36. If we're going to round, that 9 makes that 5 round up, inches cubed. Okay, now in problem number 9, it's a little different because they give us our slant height, but they don't give us our actual height. So we have to find the height of our cone here, and we can just do that by Pythagorean theorem again. So we know the radius is going to be half of 27, which is 13.5, and then I'm looking for the height. So I'm just going to do Pythagorean theorem. So height squared plus 13.5 squared equals 22.5 squared. I'm going to solve for height. So I'm going to subtract 13.5 squared from both sides. So you got height squared equals the square root 22.5 squared minus 13.5 squared. And then I take the square root of both of those. And then we're just going to get height equals, and I'm going to plug it in here. So second square root 22.5 squared minus 13.5 squared. And that gives us our height is 18. So now we can find the actual volume of this thing by just plugging it in our formula. So we've got volume equals 1/3 pi. Our radius was 13.5 squared. And then we're going to multiply that by our height, and our height we got was 18. Okay, so let's plug that in. 13.5 squared times 18 divided by 3. So if we're going to write this exact would be 1093.5 pi kilometers cubed. And then if we want to multiply the pi in there, you take that answer times pi, and then that gives us that it is going to be about 3,435.33 kilometers cubed. So your volume could be either one. Just pay attention to how I want you guys to write it. If I say keep it exact or keep it in pi form, you're going to stop right there. Okay, these last ones are our application or our working backwards kind of word problems. So number 10 says a cone has a volume of 1,309 centimeters cubed. If the height of the cone is 8, find its radius. Okay, so we know volume formula is 1/3 pi r squared times the height. So we're just going to plug in everything that we know. So volume is 1,309. 1/3 stays the same, pi stays the same. We don't know radius, so that's going to stay radius squared, and then it's going to be multiplied by 8 because that's your height. Okay, so our goal is to get rid of everything on the side, this side over here, besides the r. So the first thing I'm going to get rid of is this 1/3. So undoing 1/3, I can multiply both sides by 3. And that's going to make the 1/3 disappear. So then if I multiply 1,309 times 3, I get that this is 3,927 equals pi r squared times 8. Okay, so then I'm going to try to get this r squared by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by 8 pi. And it is important here that you do parentheses. So we're going to cancel out the 8 pi on this side. So then it's going to become 3,927 divided by 8 pi is equal to r squared. And then in order to get r squared, or r all by itself, I'm going to take the square root of this. So I'm just going to do this all at the same time, so it's less to type in on my calculator. So we do second square root 3,927 divided by, make sure this is in parentheses, 8 pi. I'm going to click enter, and then it's going to tell me my radius for this is 12.5, and then our units were centimeters. So radius is 12.5 centimeters. Okay, so next one, it says Caitlin must build a sandcastle in the form of a square pyramid for a project as shown to the left. Okay, so we've got an image over here. So Caitlin's going to build a square pyramid sandcastle that looks like this right here. So it says she bought 3 bags of sand, each containing 1,200 square cubic inches of sand. Will she have enough to build the castle? So what we're going to do is we're going to find the volume of this pyramid right here and then see if 3 of these is going to be enough sand. Okay, so let's do volume. So volume is going to be 1/3. Now in this one, we're back to a square base pyramid instead of a cone. So it's going to be the area of the base, which is 25 squared, times the height. In this case, the height is 18. So we're just going to plug that in. So 25 squared times 18 divided by 3. So that becomes 3,750 inches cubed. So total volume of the sandcastle was 3,750 inches. And let's see, she had 3 bags of sand that were 1,200 each. So if I take 1,200 and multiply by 3, that becomes 3,600 inches cubed. So if she only has this much sand available and she needs this much to build the castle, the sandcastle, she won't have enough. So she is short 150 inches cubed of sand. Okay, so since this is larger than this, she's not going to have enough sand to build her sandcastle. Okay, last problem. So it says the cylinder to the left contains 2 congruent hollow cones. So it has these 2 cones. It does say that they're congruent, so it means they're the same. And then that they're hollow, so that they don't have any volume in them. So if the cylinder's height is 20 inches, so the height over here is 20 inches, and the diameter is 14. find the volume of the solid. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna find the volume of the cylinder, and we're gonna find the volume of the two cones, and we're gonna subtract out the volume of the cones from the cylinder so that we're only getting the volume that's taken up in these parts right here that are not including the cones because those are hollow and so they don't have any volume included. Okay, so volume of a cylinder. Remember, if we're gonna do volume of a cylinder, it is the area of the base times the height. So the area of the base of this thing is a circle. So this is gonna be pi r squared, so the radius is 7, so 7 squared, and then times our height, which is 20. Okay, so we've got 20 times 7 squared. And so then the volume of our cylinder is gonna be 980 pi, what are we working in, inches cubed. Okay, and then we're gonna find the volume of the cones. So remember, volume of cones is 1/3 pi r squared, so r is 7, times the height of the cone. So now this is different. So the whole height of our shape is 20, and these were congruent, so it means we're gonna cut it in half, and the height of my cone is gonna be 10. And then we're gonna multiply all that by 2 because we technically have 2 of those cones that are congruent to each other. Okay, so let's see, we do 10 times 7 squared times 2 divided by 3. And that's ugly in pi form, so we're just gonna multiply that out. So I'm gonna take that answer, I'm gonna multiply by pi. And so then the volume of this guy is gonna be 1026.25 inches cubed. And then to get our total volume, we're just gonna take the cylinder, which is 980 pi, and we're gonna subtract out this 1026.25, and that should give us our total volume. So I'm gonna put parentheses, 980 pi, close them, and then I'm gonna subtract out this 1026.25. So then once we do that, we're gonna get our total volume left over is 2052.51 inches cubed. So when we subtract out those cubes, our final answer is gonna be 2052.51. Okay, so you guys are gonna continue to work on the volume worksheet that you were working on before. It has pyramids and it has cones, and then you guys are gonna take a picture and submit this in a Google Classroom. This is the last video of the week. So your Friday assignment is just gonna be a review on finding all of the surface area and volume of the shapes that we've done so far. Please reach out if you guys need anything. I'm always here, and I really miss you guys, and I look forward to seeing you in an office hour sometime soon. Bye, guys.